आप डॉक्टर साजिद साहब हैं?
जी जी।
जी।
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. On behalf of Center for Peace and Global Studies, I welcome you all to our 29th monthly lecture. Our guest speaker today is Dr. Mohammed Mumtaz Ali from Malaysia, and he will be speaking to us on methodological issues of Islamization of knowledge. Before I introduce my speaker, let me tell you that our lecture is being live cast on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/globalcenterpeace, and our YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/@globalcenterpeace. The recording of this lecture will be available on both of our channels, and you can later watch it and share with our other community members. During the lecture, if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat window, and later I will read them out to our speaker. Otherwise, if you want to ask your questions by yourself, at the end, when we'll have our Q&A session, you can raise your hand and I will allow you to speak directly to our speaker. Now, a brief introduction to Dr. Mumtaz Ali. He's a professor at Department of Asuluddin and Comparative Religions at the Islamic International University of Malaysia. He holds a PhD in Islamic Studies from Aligarh Muslim University, and he is an author of a well-known book on Islamization of knowledge, and he has presented a number of research papers in international journals and conferences on similar topics. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Ali to speak to us. Please welcome him. Professor, the floor is yours.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وبعد. Dear brother Dr. Sajjad Sahab, Dr. brother Hassan Malik, who is perhaps is not here at the moment, I am thankful to Center for Peace and Global Studies, Islamabad, Pakistan, for inviting me to speak about a very dearer subject to me, that is methodological issues in Islamization of knowledge. We also say Islamization of human knowledge. My presentation will be divided into 4 parts. After introductory remarks, I will discuss why did Islamic thought fail in recent decades, then followed by some earlier contributions made by some scholars on the issue of methodology of Islamization of knowledge. I will also discuss the issue of objectivity or neutrality in our research or developing our thought. These parts would be followed by some concluding remarks. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
First of all, we need to raise a simple question. Why Islamization of human knowledge is needed? Why do we need Islamization of human knowledge in our educational system around the Muslim world? Is it the need of humanity or some communities? Is it an isolationist concept or project or movement? We need to raise this question because we have to have a clear idea of Islamization of human knowledge. Before we ask the above question, raise the above question, we are bound to understand one of the social laws which is working in all human societies. In this ever-moving world, everything is subject to change or revision. So, Islamization of human knowledge is also requires either few changes or some revision. Why do we need changes or revision? Because this is the law of nature, in fact. Everything is changing. The movement of IOK or IOHK, which was initiated a few decades back, may also require revision or change or both. Therefore, we must have a clear understanding of IOHK and its need for our better future. The most important issue in Islamization of knowledge is how to Islamize knowledge and reformulate a new methodology. I would like to answer the raised questions. In my humble opinion, Islamization of knowledge movement is the need of the entire humanity. It is neither an isolationist agenda nor it confines Muslims alone. Because the issue of Islamization of knowledge has in fact opened a new chapter in human history, because for few centuries human thought, philosophical and scientific, is based on certain worldview which has not proved that that worldview is true, authentic, and universal. So, Islamization of knowledge, if we understand it in a proper perspective, I would say is dealing with the issue of the truth, reality, and authenticity of our life and the worldview. All intellectual activities must be based on true worldview, authentic worldview, universal worldview, a worldview which can fulfill the scientific, the rational, the logical criteria. Based on the study of the Quran, we understand that the Quran presents the world view before mankind. And method of the Quran is neither dogmatic nor irrational. Quran presents before mankind a body of knowledge in which certain claims about life, about world, about the creator of the life and the world are made. And Quran invite unbiased people of scientific mind, thinking and rationality to look into this body of knowledge, which is generally called Islamic revealed knowledge, but I prefer to call it true, authentic, and universal knowledge. T-A-U-K, talk. This knowledge divert attention of the readers towards the observable phenomena around us and ask to observe keenly the physical observable phenomena, then think critically. It presents empirical evidence, powerful rational argument, provide parallel examples, and then ask the readers to think and understand whatever claim is made in this Quran about the life and the world is true, authentic, and universal or not. Quran being the revealed book is addressing to entire mankind and asking to pay full attention by using sense perception and all human faculties to observe and think whatever is made claim. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of the entire universe, who created human being for a short time in this world. After their death, a time will come once again they will accorded the life. They all would be re-erected and appear before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is our creator and who is also the owner of the day of judgment. And we have to present our account of the entire life. How to live life? What should be the universal values, principles for developing society, culture, civilization? This body of knowledge presents so many things before us. It also makes claim that a particular system of life by name Islam is suggested by the creator of the entire universe, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If human beings follow that way of life, which is called Islam, Islamic way of life, then they would be able to develop, to produce culture, civilization free from crisis, crimes, and corruption. So Islamization of knowledge being based on Islam and carrying the body of true, authentic, and universal knowledge stands to bring all branches of knowledge within the fold of this true, authentic, and universal knowledge, because this explains the truth and reality of life and the world. Islamization of knowledge as a movement, as a project, as a perspective invites everybody to participate creatively for the development of epistemological, methodological frameworks. So, my dear participants, Islamization of human knowledge stands as an epistemological and methodological movement for the creation of new knowledge for the betterment and the development of culture and civilization, for the betterment of the humanity. Islamization of knowledge is synonymous to the development of Islamic thought. And Islamic thought is not a religious thought. Islamic thought is not next world oriented thought. Islamic thought embraces all aspects of life, all domains of culture and civilization, and invite people to make continuously creative contributions. So if we say Islamization of human knowledge or the development of Islamic thought, both corresponds to each other. The question here, under the methodological issues of Islamization of knowledge, is the question of how to develop Islamic thought, how to contribute in various branches of life under Islamic thought. Islamic thought is dealing with scientific thought, with political thought, with economic thought, with applied sciences, with each and every discipline, whatever is created by human beings. How to Islamize these disciplines means how to create new thought in all these disciplines based on the Islamic world view. How to Islamize or how to develop requires reformulation of a new methodology. Today I am speaking on this subject of methodology. What are the principles which are needed to be followed for the development of a new methodology or development of the existing methodologies? We are applying qualitative, quantitative, descriptive, historical, analytical, comparative methods, integrated methods, scientific method, and sometimes we call them methodology, or we combine all of them together step by step in a systematic way. If we are applying all these dominant methods and methodologies in our educational institutions, universities, then we need to ask a fundamental question in qualitative or quantitative method. What is Islamic input in it? Because we know that these methods are the product of modern philosophical thought. Therefore, we need to ask the question, do we know with clarity the philosophical background of the above mentioned methods or methodologies? Whatever methodologies I mentioned, what is their philosophical background? What principles should be applied in all these methods? And what principles we should apply which can make the product Islamized? We need to answer these questions, my dear participants. Whatever writings we find, in all those writings, we see some gleans and guidelines about those principles or methodological aspects. Hence, for the formulation of an authentic methodology relevant for our time and needs, we need to first understand why Islamic thought failed in the recent past to help the Muslims to achieve the so-called developmental status among the nations. Today, not a single Muslim country is considered as fully developed country. Even Turkey comes under developing countries. So why did Islamic thought fail? Is a relevant question for understanding the need of the formulation of a new methodology or the development of a new methodology of Islamization of knowledge or the methodology of Islamic thought. According to one of the pioneers of Islamization of knowledge, such as Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, much has been said about the content of Islamic thought, its relevance or irrelevance. What is lacking, in his opinion, is the issue of methodology and the need for its reformulation. Due to the time-space context, methodologies developed in the modern period in the Western world are applied in the Eastern world. He believes this issue has not been addressed properly among the Muslims. Consequently, this has led to the sense of borrowing and learning and accommodating foreign ideas, ideologies, institutions, all of which have apparently failed to revitalize Muslim thought, culture, and civilization. Therefore, I feel that, and he felt that, there is an urgent need to revise the traditional methodology. Commenting on the need of a new Islamic methodology, Abdul Hamid Abu Suleiman argued that the change must come from within, based on our understanding of the Islamic worldview and the values of the worldview of Islam from within. That is, we should feel an urge, inner urge among ourselves for reform of methodology, for the production of new thought. Reform must initiate, Abdul Hamid argued, intellectual reform, especially with the development of disciplined and systematic methodology for thought based on rational principles and approaches that should incorporate Islamic objectives of life. Abdul Hamid argued that the aim of this reform should be to examine the reasons why Islamic thought has apparently failed to play an active and constructive role in the contemporary world of thought and ideas, as well as to offer new alternatives to Western thought. Western thought, for all Islamic scholars, is not based on true, authentic, and universal worldview. Therefore, they realize that instead of helping mankind, humanity, to enjoy the fruits of culture and civilization, they are suffering from crisis, crimes, and many more things. Thus, he argued, we need to address the growth, and it is our growing need for peace, security, cooperation, and participation to make life of people in this world peaceful, harmonious, and developing. No Islamic scholar, as I understand, for last 50 years, 5 decades or more than 5 decades, ignore the well-being of humanity. Repeatedly, they argue that we are using the Islamic worldview to help the people of the world, so that people of the world can enjoy peace and prosperity. One of the reasons identified by Abdul Hamid Abu Suleiman is the stagnation and the narrow application of classical Muslim methodology. Therefore, he wanted to make it dynamic, capable to face the ever-changing world, which was suffering from rigidity, exclusiveness of even Islamic thought. Islamic thought, the term, the phrase Islamic thought was entirely misunderstood by majority of authors and scholars and thinkers. They think it is a religious thought. They think it confines to the study of the Quran, the Sharia, the Sunnah, the Sufism, Usuluddin, this kind of subjects. No, Islamic thought as an umbrella concept covers all cultural and civilizational dimensions. The existing classical Islamic methodology, according to Abdul Hamid Abu Suleiman, is not capable to face the cultural and civilizational challenges for their proper development. Hence, according to him, it is imperative for all Muslim intellectuals of the world to study and analyze the classical Islamic methodology and the traditional way of applying it in the field of Islamic thought along with all modern methodologies so that they can identify the shortcomings of traditional methodology and modern Western methodologies. What are the shortcomings? Why modern methodologies which are applied and they were able to produce a lot of thought, why that thought did not create peace and harmony in the world? What has gone wrong with modern Western methodologies as well? He considered the issue of methodology as obligatory for all Muslim intellectual thinkers and scholars who can or who should, who must revive Islamic thought and its methodology. And they should see what is wrong with Muslim thought and why the Sharia is no longer providing us with rules and regulations that can enable us to exert more effective control over our environment and destiny. Why we are suffering from environmental pollution? And what is the role of Islamic thought? Either polluting the environment or reforming the environment. Along with Abdul Hamid Abu Suleiman, there are some other scholars who have also made some contributions towards the debate of the need of the methodology of Islamization of knowledge or the Islamic thought. For example, Naqib al-Attas of Malaysia seems to be in favor of comparative and analytical methods in the light of Islamic revealed knowledge, revelation. Hence, Naqib al-Attas suggested a few methodological principles. For example, he emphasized on comparison, identification and isolation of some key Western concepts or traditional concepts or rigid concepts or narrow-minded concepts from existing present-day methodologies and body of knowledge. He suggested for the infusion of key Islamic concepts after removing the modern Western concepts or rigid concepts in the body of present-day knowledge to improve it and modern Western sciences. But this approach can be seen as consumerist approach that we just want to consume the existing body of knowledge. But that is not the goal of Islamization of knowledge movement as a whole. Islamization of knowledge movement stands for the creation of new knowledge, production of new knowledge. Therefore, Islamization of knowledge project focus on the mastery of the modern sciences as a principle, methodological principle, and mastery of the legacy, Islamic legacy. Those who are involved in the process of Islamization of knowledge, the teachers, the professors, everybody who stands to make some contribution towards Islamization of modern disciplines, modern body of knowledge, must demonstrate a mastery of the modern subjects and also mastery of the Islamic legacy. These two go hand side by side. Nobody who has no mastery of Islamic legacy can contribute towards Islamization of knowledge. Naqib al-Attaj, Ismail Farooqi, Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, and some other scholars, as a principle of Islamic methodology, raise the question of empirical nature of Islamic thought, the time-space dimension of both methodology as well as Islamic thought. And they wanted scholars be empirical, scientific, observational, experimental, because this is the method which is taught by the Quran, in fact. And they have to be relevant to the time and space. Therefore, they consider the issue of methodology as an integral part of not only the Islamization of knowledge project, the Islamization, the project of Islamic thought as such. Hence, for these scholars, the understanding of the methodological issues became as a prerequisite for both formulation of a new methodology and development of Islamic thought. We therefore today need to study deeper the views of scholars such as Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas, Ismail Raji Farooqi, Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, Taha Jabir Alwani, Imaduddin Khalil, Mehdi Gulshani, Jafar Sheikh Idris. Sayyid Hussain Nasr has said that many leading Muslim intellectuals were taking part in this epistemological and methodological movement of Islamization of knowledge. Sayyid Hussain Nasr himself contributed towards the development of Islamic science. However, it appears to me that our scholars in the past have focused, and some scholars are still focusing on ideological, conceptual, methodological, metaphysical framework of Islamic methodology rather than a systematic, focus-oriented elaboration of methodology. They had emphasized in their writings the methods and their technical dimensions again and again. Their contention is no doubt to provide an Islamic metaphysical premises, for it is more important for them because it is an integral part of Islamic methodology, that is the metaphysical premises, which legitimizes the need for the reformulation of modern Western methodologies as well. The metaphysical premises of Islamic methodology, which has been emphasized by these scholars, distinguishes it no doubt from the existing methodologies in the modern Western world. However, hence, the Islamization of knowledge project has also elaborated this premise and calls it the first principle of Islamic methodology. A very famous book, Islamization of knowledge, general principle and work plan. The third chapter deals with the first principle of Islamic methodology. Several principles are elaborated there. I feel them metaphysical principles, not the methodological principle. Abdul Hamid Abu Suleiman, with an exception, paid more attention to the contextual, empirical, and time-space dimension of methodology in his book, The Crisis of the Muslim Mind. According to him, most of the classical as well as contemporary Muslim jurists and thinkers, for the most part, overlooked some important dimensions of Islamic methodology, such as the empirical and time-space dimensions and their relation to the structure and application of classical Muslim methodology. In fact, before Abdul Hamid Abu Suleiman, in his famous book, Reconstruction of Religious Thought in Islam, Allama Iqbal has highlighted the empirical dimension of the Islamic thought. He said clearly, argued in his book, that Quran teaches the scientific method of observation and experiment. Ask the readers to observe, experience the physical phenomena for the understanding of metaphysical truth and reality. We go through physical phenomena to the truth and reality of metaphysical phenomena, as Iqbal emphasized and argued. Therefore, those who are advocating the need for a fresh look into traditional Islamic methodology, they argue that the substance and the structure of social institutions have to be observed based on existing methodologies, techniques, and tools, because they are always changing according to time-space context. Therefore, it is necessary for us to revise the methodological structure of our methodology. We generally focus on few things like ijtihad, like consensus, like maslaha, public interest, few. But most of our thought is theoretical, not practical, not realistic, not problem solving thought. So we need to revise the structure of our methodology. Abdul Hamid emphasized that the substance and the structure of social institutions at any point of space and time reflect the need and the rationale of a specific society. Societies are changing. I'm living in Malaysia. The needs and demands of the society of Malaysia are totally different from the Muslims who are living in Indonesia in many aspects, in many dimensions. So the methodologies developed in Malaysia cannot be applied as it is in Indonesian context. There must be creativity. There must be new addition or omission. With the progression of time and change of space, Abdul Hamid argued, the substance and structure of social institution should also be changed. And they are changing, in fact. In truth, they are changing. There are always realities and practicalities, Abdul Hamid argues, which call for workable alternatives. For example, in Islamic research, we require many more things other than just qualitative, quantitative methods or just techniques to collect the data and apply the techniques. We require more of these things. We require a few new aspects which must be integral part of methodology, methods, because they are significant and essential, such as truthful perspective of life. On false perspective of life, we cannot construct the structure of the society. At very outset, we need to determine what is the truth and reality and authenticity and universality of life and the world. Truthful perspective of life, an authentic system of life suggested by the Creator Himself. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being the Creator, makes several claims that He possesses unlimited knowledge, unlimited wisdom. Therefore, He has the right to prescribe for us the best practical way of life. Along with a system of life, correct and authentic, we need a proper leadership who can lay the spiritual and moral foundation of the society. Without providing a spiritual and moral foundation to society, practically no one can imagine a progressive, enlightened society with cultural and civilizational developmental components, free from crisis and chaos, corruption and crimes, without laying down the foundation of spirituality and morality of the individual and society. There is no possibility of development free from crisis, corruption, chaos, destruction, and even natural calamities. Therefore, a correct system of life, correct system of culture civilization, a correct system of government and state in which we live and work are needed. A methodology of Islamic thought or Islamization of knowledge must take into consideration all these dimensions. And they have not been emphasized, they have not been elaborated properly. We need to differentiate between source of knowledge and tools and techniques of knowledge. Continuously, we are making blunder mistakes about source of knowledge and tools and techniques of knowledge. Along with correct and authentic source of knowledge, no doubt, we need correct tools and techniques, but true, authentic, and universal source of knowledge is indispensable. We cannot develop buildings of culture and civilization based on speculation and conjecture about life and the world. Most of our philosophical thought is conjectural and speculative. Rather, the source, the method of philosophical thought has been conjectural and speculative. Because when we argue, we say that we are making use of the faculty of reason and even sense perception, but that faculties ends in the final stage with speculation and conjecture about metaphysical truth. Because metaphysical truth is unobservable, cannot be measured, cannot be observed. If anybody accepts phenomena and denies the noumena, that is not a rational and logical approach. Everyone is able to see the sky without the pillars and the earth. They have to provide a true, authentic, and universal knowledge. Who created this sky and earth? In between, there are no pillars. Unfortunately, we have neglected the truth and reality of life and the world. Therefore, our philosophy of research as such is based on a philosophical thought which fails to provide the true, authentic, and universal foundation to life and the world. Without the philosophy of research, a true philosophy of research based on the truth and reality and authenticity of life and the world, there is neither research nor methodology. Islamization of knowledge as a movement, epistemological and methodological, is starting and emphasizing on the need of true, authentic, and universal view of life and the world. The faculties of human beings, such as reason, the senses, intelligence, intuition, experiences, including experimentation and observation, all these become techniques and tools, and they are fully recognized and used extensively. They cannot become a source of knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this point repeatedly, explicitly clear, that all these tools and techniques with regard to metaphysical truth would end up with speculation and conjecture. Therefore, I argue that the Islamic philosophy of research, along with Islamic revealed knowledge, a true, authentic, and universal knowledge, faculties, source of knowledge, we also should provide certain fundamental ingredients. And this is the role of the philosophy of research. If we talk about Islamic philosophy of research, it should provide a true vision and mission of life. A true vision and mission of life and society, which are integral part of Islamic research methodology, must be made clear. We are emphasizing more and more on methods and techniques, tools, but we are not emphasizing on the need of a true vision and mission of life. We say rationality is needed. Rational beings are needed. But what is the view of rationality and what is the view of rational being are still debatable. Any notion of rationality, logic, scientific understanding, I will discuss something more related about this. Any notion, any suggestion, any solution that go against the true vision and mission of life must be considered as unauthentic. That is why Islamic scholars have emphasized that Islamic worldview does not negate the importance and the significance of this world as such. The success of the next world goes through the success in this world. To make this world the finest place for living and enjoyment of life for human being is the main goal and target of Islamic thought and Islamic society, Islamic methodology, and Islamization of knowledge. This world has to be made free from crisis, chaos, crimes, corruption, exploitation. Therefore, from a methodological point of view, we cannot totally depend on our faculties without realizing that they end up when working independently with speculation and conjecture. We need a true vision and mission of life, a true worldview, an authentic way of life, universal values which emphasize on shame, talks about obscenity, emphasize on virtues. Look into mind the last part of my discussion. I'm calling it the objectivity or neutrality in research or in methodologies or methods. I argue that no research at present is neutral. Either it is based on liberal thought, liberal democracy, liberalism, communism, socialism, or some isms and ideologies. No scientist can claim that he enters the laboratory to observe the phenomena without any background knowledge. He has a background mindset. And he enters with that and he observes everything with that background knowledge. The foundation, the perspective, the principles, and even to some extent the techniques and tools and skills of research all have been driven by some worldview and perspective, especially the modern Western worldview and modern Western perspective, in which there is no place for the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for His guidance, for His guidelines. There is no place for the next world, next life. Whatever life is, that is the life of this world, that is physical. In this modern Western worldview, the spiritual and moral dimensions have been totally neglected. Nobody feels that he is accountable before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next world. And they think that these are the religious ideas. Whereas Quran presents these as the truth and reality of this world. The notion of rationality, use of ethics in research, scientific method in research, observation and experiment in research, positivism and rationalism. All these notions, ideas are the product of the modern Western world view. Take the example of the observation. They observe only the physical phenomena and they do not penetrate beyond the physical phenomena to see the truth and reality of the metaphysical phenomena. They simply look at the surface. These notions inherently reflect the modern Western perspectives. They are emphasized in research, in methodologies as well as research philosophies. They say that we must be observational, experimental, we must be capable to measure, observe, and conduct the experiment, but observation, measurement, experiment, all are qualified based on modern Western conditions and qualifications. Most people in general claim that their concepts, notions, ideas, especially those related to research methodology and research methods and research as such are value-free, objective, and universal. But this is not the truth. This is wholly and solely untrue and incorrect. Either you follow the liberal perspective or you follow the socialist perspective. All scientists of this world, when they are conducting observation and experiment in their laboratories, enter the laboratories with certain background knowledge, certain perspectives, keeping in their mind either human being possess both spiritual and physical bodies or he is physical alone. Spiritual dimension is totally denied. In truth and reality, my dear learned participant, the idea of neutrality is simply a claim without any rational, historical, or scientific evidence. Whatever exists today in the name of research is the modern-oriented body of research. All books on research methodologies and research methods written from modern Western perspective. All these books are not neutral and universal. They do not reflect the universal research, but modern and Western. For example, the view of man, society, and the world by which researchers conduct their research are modern Western view of man, society, and the world. As I just explained to you, the truth and reality of life is that it is a combination of physical and spiritual. We are created as ethical beings. We all have the faculties of reflection and understanding. So we have to reflect and understand and determine the truth and reality, whether we are physical alone or we enjoy first spirituality and then physical existence. We have been created by a creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has assigned us a purpose of life, or we are created by our own self. Without purpose, we are living. Everything of this world has certain purpose, science claims. Even cockroaches and mosquitoes has some purpose for human life. How come the whole life of human being is without any purpose? So our view of society, life needs to be revisited. The origin of life, vision of life, mission of society, the notion and place of reason and sense perception are all shaped by the modern Western worldview. Reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has referred to several ayat in which Allah said that you have the reason but you are unable to make use of it. Therefore, all researchers, without any exception, are conducting research activities, developing thought in Islamic thought within the framework of the modern worldview and its vision and mission of life. Because they are following the qualitative, the quantitative, the mixed mood research, or the scientific method, all this, without any Islamic input in it. All researchers, therefore, beyond any doubt, plan their research activities to achieve the modern objectives of life and society. That is, physical achievement, physical development, and completely failure of spiritual and moral dimensions. I used to give example, and I don't feel shy, that all highly educated people are involved in financial corruptions and scandals. Highly educated people. If there are any exceptions, they are negligible. The existence and acceptance of true, authentic, and universal knowledge, thought, has been denied in the modern world by the modern oriented philosophers, thinkers, scientists, and leaders. The Islamic revealed knowledge, which I consider true, authentic, and universal knowledge based on our serious studies, are not the part and parcel of our methodologies and research ideas and research plannings. In my university, International Islamic University, a kuliya was formed, and the name of the kuliya was given as Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. That is, for the study of human sciences, the Islamic Revealed Knowledge must be the guiding principle, the foundational knowledge. The denial of revealed knowledge, or true, authentic, universal knowledge, has not been based on extensive research and examination of comprehensive data relevant to the origin of life, society, and the world. Most of the thought is based on speculation and conjecture. Theory of evolution ultimately is the result of conjecture and speculation. Examination and analysis have not even been conducted centered around knowledge, true, authentic, and universal knowledge. All philosophers who denied the true, authentic, and universal knowledge, Islamic revealed knowledge, from the very beginning, from the very outset, laid the foundation of their thinking based on speculation and conjecture or zero knowledge. It has been done on metaphysical speculation, philosophical conjecture, doubt, assumptions, guesswork, imaginations, desires, and fancies, hasty decisions, biases, and prejudice and prejudicial attitudes. All these have been identified in the Quran. Most of the philosophers of the modern period became reactionaries against the then existing notions of life, society, and the world, as well as conditions of life and society. They observed in modern period, the Western societies, and they realized that in Western societies, most of the things are based on dogmas, go against the scientific discoveries. They assume that every other tradition is dogmatic and irrational. This was a great philosophical mistake. Whatever views of life, society, and the world that exist today are based on shaky foundation of speculation and conjecture. We are not sure about their certainty and truthfulness. We do not know exactly what the truth and reality of life, society, and the world are. We are constantly moving based on conjecture and speculation while still claiming to be scientific, ethical, systematic, rational, etc. All highly educated, talented people are employed in economic domain. Experts are working in economic domain. The whole world is suffering from economic crisis and economic issues, because the whole life is not based on truth and reality of life and the world. We cannot sacrifice one type of aspects of research, such as the correct worldview, true perspective of life, background knowledge, proper epistemology, a realistic vision of life, a comprehensive mission of society, practical laws and universal values, authentic foundation and principles of critical and creative thinking, a truthful view of the scientific method, a truthful view of the scientific method, the existing scientific method which is explained in the existing books is based on speculation and conjecture, not true, authentic, and universal knowledge. We do not have comprehensive understanding of the notion of observation and even correct system, honest people, and integrated professionals, etc. At the expense of other aspects of research, for example, methods, techniques, tools, skills, designs, strategies, planning, we are moving. We are not emphasizing on the true understanding of life and the world. No doubt, both aspects address the needs of research and of life and society, which are the foundational we have to determine, especially the foundational pillars of Islamic research. Islamic research, Islamic methodology of research must be comprehensive, realistic, meaningful, and result-oriented. At present, my dear participants, our frameworks of conventional research methodologies are mainly based on an authentic and unscientific view of life, society, and the world. Our worldviews, perspectives, even background knowledge, epistemologies, methodologies, vision of the cosmos, vision of ontology, vision of life, mission of society, universal laws and values, principle of critical and creative thinking, and views of scientific methods, all are neither completely true nor genuinely authentic and comprehensive. This is the reason that our world is suffering from crisis, chaos, weapons, and wars. Thank you very much, dear participants, brothers and sisters. Sorry, I took a lot of time. I hope that I draw your attention to some of the important issues related to the methodology of Islamization of knowledge. Thank you very much, Dr. Sajjad Saab, for your patience and patience of the participants.
It's all right. Jazakumullah khair for a very informative lecture. We are inviting questions. I have a couple of questions in the chat window from Saira Rahman. Saira, would you like to ask the question yourself? You can unmute yourself. Okay, I
Assalamu
think.
alaikum.
Walaikum salam, please.
Walaikum salam.
Sir, thank you so much for such informative session, sir. And believe me, it was a full pack of knowledge, sir. And you have,
Thank you.
mashallah, like really opened those aspects also, which were definitely, I was not in a position to approach that aspect, sir. Mashallah, very good, sir. Sir,
Thank you very much.
I have one question over here, sir, that as you have talked about speculation. So when speculation creates too many possible outcomes now, it overwhelms decision making. So delaying progress and reducing creative momentum, sir. So how we can address this issue in today's era, sir?
As I said, the name of my kuliya is the Kuliya of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. So we make Islamic revealed knowledge as the criteria for our examination and judgment. Anything which goes against the claims of Islamic revealed knowledge or do not come within the framework of Islamic revealed knowledge are revisited, rejected, revisited again and again. Because you see, my dear sister, no philosopher, no thinker has made repeatedly in his books that he is Al-Alim and Al-Hakim, as Allah has made the claims. No philosopher says that whatever knowledge he presented, he shared, that is final, authentic, and true, and even universal. No philosopher claims that he has unlimited knowledge and the total knowledge of each and everything. When Allah makes this claim, what is that which stop us to accept that claim of that knowledge? That knowledge is making claim that moral foundation of the society is indispensable. And moral foundation of society means the moral foundation of human life. Why highly educated people are corrupt financially? Why bribery in financial domain has become a dominant and living factor? Why they are unable to resist against bribe? Why? Because they are free from the truth and reality that they cannot escape on the day of judgment from accountability before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are free. Eastern and Western, people living in South and the West, North, all are free from this sense of accountability before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They think that this is a religious concept. And they deceive themselves when they think that this is a religious concept. I see it as truthful, as realistic as I see myself, capable to speak with my physical body and with a tongue. I see myself as the truth and reality. In the same way, I see the sense of accountability on the day of judgment as true and authentic, which helps me to sacrifice luxuries, extra money, accumulation of wealth. I can resist. But people who have no understanding of the truth and reality of life, they are thinking that this life is the only life in which if we can make achievement, that is successful. Otherwise, we are failure. We are failure. Although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said clearly that whatever you think is good for you, it may not be good for you. And whatever you think harmful for you, it may not be harmful for you. Sayyid Hussain Nasr has said that in the West, criteria of examination changes like people change fashions. Every day, a new criteria is set for examination, analysis, observation, and comparison. Nothing is permanent and eternal for examination. They badly lack the body of true, authentic, and universal knowledge. Therefore, they go for speculation and conjecture. Can we move to another question, other comment, please?
Mr. Hassan, could you please ask your question? You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you, Brother
Am I clear,
Hassan. But I am unable to
Jazakallah,
hear.
Professor. Like you said, we have problems with the tools and the technology, and we are also victims of power for fear or favor. But I think that the approach of Islamization has been incorrect from the beginning, because we are using still the methodology, the language of colonialists, and we haven't decolonized the language, so we're not doing anything good for Islam. My problem, and I want you to help me, is that I'm looking at two ways of doing this: is the road and the reality. The road is the Sharia and the reality is the Hakikat. If we go back to the root and take the curriculum as the cosmos and everything around it, then we don't have to walk on minefields of the secular and present Islam as the way it has to be done. That is through the recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Help me on that.
Very true. If you think that Islamization has taken a wrong route, has done something incorrect, it is your obligation, it is your duty to correct it, number one. If you do not want to correct them, then you present your own views similar to Islamization. If you are convinced that Islamic revealed knowledge must be the basis of right or wrong, it should occupy the position of judgment, then you have to come up with all your writings, with all your essays, with all your works and books, what is the true method. We cannot escape. On the day of judgment, definitely Allah will ask, if other people were doing something wrong, why you did not do you something right? It is our duty, my dear Brother Hassan. It is our duty to participate and contribute. And I am sure you are participating and contributing. Your comment itself is a sign that you are eager to make things right.
Shukran, Habibi.
Jazakallah.
Okay, next question from Siti Hajar. Would you like to ask your question yourself? You can unmute yourself. Okay, they have sent their question. Let me read it from here. How has this Islamic methodology been impactful and effective on the Western methodology? That's the question.
Still, it is in progress. We have not been able to provide a workable, authentic methodology with real constituent elements. For example, I said, as Iqbal wrote in his book, Quranic approach or method of research or reflection or thinking is empirical. So I myself sometimes feel difficulty. How can I start my essay, my article, making use of empirical phenomena? Quran does not ask just think and write. Thinking comes after going through the process of observation, experiment, critical thinking, comparative analysis, making use of examples. After going through all these things comes the stage of thinking and concluding. So this process and this methodology requires clear elaboration. We are still to making ourselves capable. We are not in a position to create an impact on others. We have not come up, at least in my humble understanding, whatever my humble reading on the issue of methodologies and methods, we have not contributed remarkably anything which can attract the attentions of everybody. We are in making, we are in the process. And young people must come forward with a new thinking and new thought. They should make Islamic thought scientific, that is empirical, not theoretical and idealistic. This is a challenge. If we have not corrected our own house, how can we put an impact on the house of the neighborhood? We are in the process. And not everywhere people are serious about Islamization and the process of Islamization. And those who were serious, they have become cool nowadays. So we have to generate, we have to create a new sense so that everybody can come forward and generate.
Jazakumullah khair. I think we are top of the hour, and Ms. Mavish has sent another question, but I think the answer has already come in this previous question. So I will apologize for not giving them time. So Jazakumullah khair, Professor Ali, for your time and effort and the valuable thoughts that you have presented. And I would also thank everybody who participated in today's lecture, sent their questions and listened to it carefully. Just to tell everybody that every month in the last weekend, we hold this lecture. And every time we try to bring a new speaker. And inshallah, next month, in the last weekend, we'll hold another lecture for you. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am thankful to all participants and to the organizers and to